Hello, everybody. Welcome to my new series on Creator.club. And this series will be focused on a very emerging area called Metaverse. And Metaverse is one of the most happening things today. And it is going to affect each one of us. And more importantly, it's going to benefit each one of us. Today, much of the discussions on metaverse is all about what Facebook is doing, what Microsoft is doing, and what Google is trying to do, or what Apple is trying to do that. But having said these are the leading companies, metaverse is much bigger than these companies. And what metaverse can do for us, or what is that we can do in the metaverse space, is actually inexhaustible. That means there is no limit for our activities, our contributions, or our career spaces available in this metaverse. So with this brief line, I will start my presentation. And in the current session, it is a kind of a orientation session where actually I will take you through a very bird's view of what metaverse is all about and how it is structured. Then over the next few episodes, we will be taking over what each one of this topic does and how does it actually contribute towards this. I have subtitled my presentation actually as a gateway to the future. The reason being that today metaverse is going to act like a gateway for our future. So anything and everything that we are doing today, whether it's a school or education or a company business or even a travel, will be moved gradually to the metaverse world. And just to bring you a kind of a comparison, metaverse is today in a state which internet was back in 2000, I'm sorry, in 1990s, or what mobile phones or the smartphones were there in the year 2007, or even cloud computing was back, there in 2009. So when internet was coming in the year 1990s, people did not know its full potential. Most people thought that internet is for file transfer and all that it can do is actually help people to file transfer and all. But internet started around 93, 94 when Netscape Navigator came into being. And within 5, 6 years, we had a companies like Google coming as a search engine giant and Amazon sometime 98 coming. So now today in the metaverse world, actually we are like that. That means we do not know much what is potentially possible, but our guess is that metaverse is going to change our future is very much well founded. Take another example. When Apple introduced the smartphone back in 2007, people thought that phones are meant for making callings and all. You use a phone for making calls to somebody else. But today, making call is one of the smallest activity or one of the small activity that we do on our mobile. We have thousands of apps which actually help us to do, for example, whether it is attending a class or a meeting and all. So that was another example. Actually, people in 2000 were not actually able to figure out what is the potential of a smartphone. And very recently in 2009, when cloud computing came into being, that time actually people thought that cloud computing is all about three fundamental services like infrastructure as a service, software as a service, or platform as a service. But today, if you look at internet, cloud computing, it offers everything as a service. In fact, you may be surprised to listen to this, that actually even metaverse as a service is available for companies which can build their own metaverses. So that's being the potential of the earlier technologies. And metaverse also falls into that category. Today, most of the people actually think that metaverse is all about gaming, maybe it's about NFT and all. But then these are the two well publicized items which are possible in metaverse, but metaverse itself can take us to a deeper world. So today's presentation is all about orientation. Then I will tell you what is the scope and intent of the metaverse and how we are going to do about that. Let me explain about this series. Are you able to see my screen? And let me explain about my about this series. Metaverse, the complete stream, offers you a thorough introduction to this world of magical world of Metaverse. So it's almost magical because the potential that it has. And it is organized as a sequence of weekly episodes. That means every week I will take up one topic and then I will try to introduce that topic in every detail. And some of the topics that will be included here are like this. Okay, I will show you that list. Okay, and then each session will end with a question and answer session. That means you can ask questions in the chat, and we will try to go and answer you all of them. Okay. So, although metaverse is for everybody today, it is going to affect the whole population. But my presentation is mostly concentrated for the people like students who are doing engineering and management or general humanities and all, or also programmers and developers, because much of the future applications and development would happen in the metaverse world. And also faculty teaching engineering courses or any other courses which has something of a technological component, and also the UI and UX developers, because much of the metaverse world will be delivered on many of the devices, including VR devices and all. So they should also be knowing this. So in order to understand and appreciate the scope, all that I expect from each one of the participants is actually expected to be motivated enough and learn the metaverse ecosystem. Okay, and that is where the whole things comes actually. If you are motivated enough, metaverse will offer a magical opportunity for your career. Okay, and a little about my background. See, I'm a computer science faculty in an engineering college in Dharwad, Karnataka, and recently got hooked to this metaverse, and I just completed a certification somewhere in the month of March. And this is my college, you can see on the left side. And I'm coming out with a book on metaverse glossary. It is actually a list of important terms which actually help you to start your career in metaverse. It has some 300 words and which is almost ready for publication. Anytime it will actually reach the mainstream. Okay. So in this present, in this present episode number 1, I will welcome you to the world of metaverse, and I will try to explain the vision, mission, and actually and the purpose of metaverse. Okay. See, as you can see, a metaverse is a very strange thing, and it is also very a novelty. The reason why it is strange thing is it is going to offer you a kind of a magical thing. For example, current internet that we are using today is actually kind of a distance one. So there is a screen that you are always interacting with. Now that I am actually presenting it from my college, my place, and you are attending this from either your home or somewhere else. So the distance is always there. But once the metaverse come into being, actually the distance is removed because it is going to create a 3D space for us. So both of us actually will be coming to a common space and we start actually interacting with that. So that is the reason it looks strange for most of the people. And secondly, it is a novelty. Novelty is something, it is a novel feature because we have a certain combination of technologies which have come together and are creating this metaverse. So for that reason, it is novel because the combination is producing some very desirable results for us. Okay. And as you can see here, metaverse is a combination of technologies. So there is artificial intelligence in this, there is extended reality. I will explain on a different note here, and also augmented reality. Then there is mixed reality, the virtual reality, and also we have a component of Internet of Things. Then we have a blockchain, which is going to be the backbone or what we call a bedrock of the metaverse technology. And we also have cloud computing, which takes the lot of our uplifting of all the data and all. And finally, we also have 5G and 6G networks which are going to empower. The picture shows you that it is novelty comes from the fact that how we are going to combine these technologies to produce the result that we want. The result that we want is we want to overcome the distance barrier that we are facing today. So we will not, suppose I have to make this presentation or this session in the metaverse world, then probably would have been in the same common space called a meeting room and all, and we would have felt we have talked to each other in a different way. So that is the magical nature of this metaverse. Okay. Now let me talk about this. What is metaverse? It's simple actually. Metaverse is the next upgrade to the of the internet. So normally in software and mobile devices, we have an upgraded and an addition, I mean, as a new version. Okay. Similarly, the metaverse is actually an upgrade of the internet. That means what is the upgrade? Today, internet actually a 2D environment. Maybe this session that you are attending, we are still feeling the distance. The presenter and the listener or the participant, we are not in the same space. That is going to be out of the way, and we are coming together in a same space if you are going to use the metaverse. Maybe you think of Zoom Meet or a Google class that you have attended. You always feel the teacher is away or the presenter is away. And in the current internet, actually, we use browser and search. That means the interface between me and the internet is actually is the browser. Without browser, I can't do much. And what I do on the internet is actually search. Okay. And the difference in the metaverse comes from the fact that metaverse is a 3D internet. That means it is upgraded 3D internet and it's a 3D space. And instead of a browser, we are going to use a VR devices. That's virtual reality devices like headset or such things, or even mobiles are capable of doing that. And instead of browsing, we are going to walk. That means we will be an activity. That means we actually enter the internet and start acting or working. So we will discover things. It's assumed like this. See, earlier, actually, when internet came in the 90s and all, internet was always away from us. That means we have to go to our desktop and access the internet. When mobile came to us, actually, internet was always with us. That means whenever I carry my mobile, internet was to come with me all the time. And today, in the metaverse, actually, you are in the internet. That means you are in the 3D space and actually you are using that. So the fundamental difference between the current internet and the metaverse internet is you will be in a space which is actually 3D. So instead of browsing, you will be walking or acting or running, and instead of searching, you will be discovering. And this is a fundamental difference. That means you will be alive in a space which is created for your activities. Okay. And the next question that we are going to ask is, why are we, yeah, hello? Any question? Okay. Okay. See, now let me talk about the vision. That means why are you going to create a metaverse at all? See, metaverse is the global network of spatially organized. So this is a create hub. What is spatially? So that means we are going to create a space for you so that you can come together. For example, as I told you, suppose delivering this presentation in the metaverse world. Then instead of you hooking to your machine and I hooking to your machine, probably we are using a kind of a virtual reality and come together to a common point called a meeting place. And that space is actually a virtual space. That is something different from the physical space that we are experiencing now. That means I'm in Harvard, I'm presenting, and you are in your home or a hostel listening to that. But in the web in the metaverse, we will create that specially created space which will come together. So that whole process of coming together is called teleporting. So using your headset or using your other devices, you will come together to a meeting. For example, companies like Microsoft and all, they have workrooms and other things where actually people come together, attend the meeting. And the second quality is actually 3D content. Today, content is actually either a text or a video and all, which is played on YouTube and all. But suppose we have a metaverse working, then probably you would have actually 3D content. And all this will happen without any restriction. That means we don't have any barrier. So whether you are in, say, Harvard or Delhi, you will be coming to that common space and actually you start feeling the people listening to the preaching or the classes and all. And there are many major innovations which are actually working. For example, if you look at this, okay. Now there are 5G networks which are going to support our our activities in the metaverse. Okay, so metaverse is technologically powered. So this is what internet is all about. Okay, I mean, okay. And finally, there are major internet. It's a transformational. What it means actually, unless unlike the current internet, we are actually participate in a very dispassionate manner. In the metaverse, you would actually take a very active role and you participate in that. And let me cover certain active, I mean, characteristics of metaverse. Like for example, there is only one metaverse. Now the companies say Facebook is creating their own metaverse called Meta, and companies like Microsoft are doing that. That is not a correct statement to make, because there will be only one metaverse, like the internet. There is no one internet for Google, one internet for Facebook, or one internet for other companies. There is only one internet. Similarly, there will be only one metaverse. Yeah, hello. Okay. Uh, and I have been seeing certain questions in the chat. I will try to answer them at the end. Okay. And metaverse is open. Open means it is interoperable. Today, the internet is not interoperable. For example, suppose you have a account in Facebook, and if you have a content that you cannot access from your Google or Gmail account. So they are all closed systems. So in the terminology of metaverse, it is called walled gardens. Walled gardens means whatever that happens in the Facebook happens in Facebook, whatever happens in Gmail happens in that. But metaverse is totally different. So if there are two metaverses created by a company, then actually you can make an easy transition without logging out from one and logging into another one. You can make that one. That's called open. And it is hardware independent. That means again, it doesn't depend on browser. It does not necessarily depend on your VR handset. It could be delivered directly on your browser, other things. Okay. And metaverse is actually publicly accessible of virtual worlds. And this is a key term, virtual world, because for the first time, we are not just accessing a text file or a PDF file or a video or other things. We are actually accessing virtual worlds. That means we are just getting enter into internet in a 3D space, and we start acting. And it is all 3D content. So what it means is actually 3D content. It is a spatial content. That means you are actively involved in that. And the next one is actually, it is a computer networking. I told you 5G network is the founding stone of this, or a foundational stone of this. What are the functionalities? You notice here actually, first thing is you experience something. So to experience, we should be present there. Since you cannot physically present everywhere in the internet, we will create a virtual space. So people who have played games and all, they don't know. They know that actually experience is totally different just viewing something. Maybe you have seen some 3D films and all. So experience comes. So the first and fundamental value proposition of metaverse is the experience. Okay. And all other things like create, publish games, and all those things will automatically come there. Okay. And now let us look at the nature of the metaverse. Okay. It is online space. That means it happens above the internet, and it is a 3D space unlike the one. So that means you are actually teleported into that and you start acting or participating. It is virtual, it is not physical in nature, and it is persistent. So another important characteristic of metaverse, it is persistent. That means it never goes off. See, for example, currently we are doing a meeting or a session here, and at the end of the session, what happens is you only have the record of this, but this meeting itself, this physical, the connection that we are having now, it simply disappears. Whereas in the metaverse world, whatever the activities which always there all the time. So that persistence quality is something great. For example, suppose you attend a concert, okay, and if the music is there, you can visit that concert anytime in future and actually listen to the same song, which is not possible in the current net actually. And lastly, what do we need in the following? Actually, we need people, because they are the people who bring life to that one. So since we cannot have a real people, we are having virtual people. And in the world of metaverse, they are called avatars. For example, you can take a shape of a player, that's the one avatar, or you can take a shape of an employee, that's called another avatar. Okay. And we also have a places in the metaverse. For example, we have house, we have marketplace, office, school, or a battlefield, battleground, whatnot. And we also have objects. For example, we can have a picture, we can have an NFT and other things. And we also have interaction. That means we can talk, we can touch, we can kick, we can run. Okay, all those things. We also have events like orchestra or a musical event or a sports event. And finally, we have also properties like NFT or Bitcoin currency and all. Okay. And you may be asking, like, what is that actually? Why it makes the internet, when metaverse is so powerful? It's very simple. There are some technologies have that potential which actually help you to overcome a natural barrier. See, for example, some of the barriers were actually, so before 14th century, we had this barrier of what we call knowledge gap. So only few people in the society were knowledgeable, others were not knowledgeable because they did not have access to knowledge of living people. So the invent of printing press, which created book, which actually help us to spread knowledge across the people. So book actually overcame what is known as a knowledge gap. Then we have actually steam engine which overcome the power gap. That means it gives us the power to do the work. For example, we put a steam engine to a railway and which will take us anywhere, or steam engine to our factory and we build a factory and all. Similarly, today metaverse is actually giving overcoming the space gap. That means I and you together in different physical space, but metaverse with this virtual reality will create an opportunity where actually we can come together at the same location, and that is a huge value proposition. So now, because of that, you don't need to worry where you are. You can participate in a meeting as if you are in an office because it's a virtual meeting, virtual space, and you are using the avatar and you talk to the avatar of your CEO or a team leader. And that is a very strong value proposition whose implications I can tell you. And finally, metaverse has lot many business, use cases. That means it can be used in schools, it can be used in education, it can be used in government, or it can be used in entertainment. That I will be covering over a period of time. Okay. So the conclusion of my this very orientation program is all about, see, metaverse is the latest in the long list of technological development, and most recent examples which you have seen in our lifetime. It started with internet, then mobile, smartphone, then actually cloud computing, and this is the latest, and is going to affect and benefit each one of them. And it has the potential to transform every walk of life, business, education, profession, and basic understanding. Metaverse is desirable, especially if you are a student and other professional. Okay. So now I just concluded my presentation and I will go through all the questions, and then I will figure it out how can I answer. So there is one, when I go from the backward, Mr. VK is asking, sir, what about privacy threats in metaverse and identity threats? Okay. So, one of my presentation I will be making in future about called digital identities. See, in current existing internet, you use have Gmail ID as your identity and all, and they are actually prone for hacking and all. So now we have come out with another technology called zero proof identity. That means whenever you make a interaction with somebody, you are not going to share any of your information. Assume that, for example, in your country, suppose you are allowed to drive a car only if you are 18 years. Then our zero proof uh, technology allows you to share only your age with the person who wanted. For example, a police, it doesn't share your name and all. So in the metaverse, the privacy is taken care, because in addition to making you anonymous, we also making very protective using what we call zero proof technology, which shares as minimum information as possible. For example, if they are asking about gender, only gender from your identity is shared with them. If they are asking only for age, that will be only that will be shared. Whether if they are asking what is your education, only that will be shared. If you are asking only about your date of birth, only that will be shared, not your names and all. So that is taken care, VK. That is how it is. And what is second? Okay, Mr. Akshay has asked, what are your views on decentralized? Okay, I told you in one of my slides, metaverse needs many things, and one of the things that it needs actually is a property or a land. So the way we have a land in our real life, virtual worlds are also metaverse also as a land. So decentralized land is one application, okay, one where people actually create lands, again virtual assets, and they are sharing with other people. So these lands have a different value. For example, even in our real life, a site or a piece of land in Bangalore Majestic will be very expensive because it has a commercial value. Similarly, in metaverse also, in the decentralized land also, there are applications where actually you can build a shop or you can build a Nike food center or other things. So decentralized is a one application of metaverse where land is sold for other people. Why are people buying lands? Because they want to build a business over there. They want to build a house there. They want to build a museum. Okay, this is a brief answer to you actually. Okay, and the next question is actually somebody has actually asked Roshan, metaverse is just a glorified gaming, right? Roshan, this is a popular notion, but actually what I'm trying to answer is actually I told you, say when internet came in 1990, people said that internet is another way of sharing files, FTP. But today internet is doing everything for you. Similarly, when in 2007, when Apple introduced their iPhones, people thought that phones are there only for calling other people. But today, you know that there are thousands of applications which are there for iPhone, which will help you to do many things. So people missed the potential of internet by saying that it is only for file transfer. People actually missed their estimates by saying that Apple phone or any mobile phone, smartphone is only for calling. Similarly, in case of cloud computing, people thought that it is there for infrastructure, it is for platform, but now cloud computing offers every services. So Roshan, to say that metaverse is gaming is like saying that mobile is for making calls. It is not true. It is mobile is for many applications. So, however, since most of the famous applications in the metaverse are from the gaming, people mistake or underestimate metaverse. But metaverse can go beyond that. And as I showed in one of my slides, okay, metaverse has applications in business. For example, if people conduct meeting on the metaverse, people can also attend schools on the metaverse. So gaming is one of the many applications which metaverse can enable you. So this is the answer to you, Mr. Roshan. And next one is actually, yes, there is one question that somebody has asked, Yashwant, will there be no code ways to build on the metaverse? And the question answer is definitely yes. See, we have to enable people to participate in our network world. So until today, the major way to enter or participate is through coding. But no, coding is also not for everybody. The entire 7 billion population of the world, you cannot expect them to become coders the way you cannot expect everybody to become a sports person or a musician. So now there are many development tools which actually use no code development. That means all that you have to go to a screen and you say like, I want a screen 2 by 2. The backend program is written or code is actually generated automatically by that. So the answer to Mr. Ashwant is yes. One of the reasons, one of the powerful motivation behind metaverse is to create no code program, and people are creating, and people also started using that. In fact, there are something called citizen coders. What they means, they are not professional coders, but using this no code, they will develop an application for either their home, society, or residents, or NGOs and all. Okay. Mm. Okay, Mr. Raj is asking what is that QA is going to all about? It is all about metaverse. You can ask any, Mr. Raj, you can ask any question. I mean, as long as I can figure it out. About metaverse, I will going to answer that. Mr. Raj, technology has disrupted our lives in many ways. Same will happen with blockchain as well. Yes. Okay, Mr. Raj, the what you raised a good point. Like technology is going to disrupt, and the reason why it disrupt, I will tell you. So I told you, before book came in in the 14th century, there was people with knowledge and people common man. They did not have access to knowledge. Okay, and once the books came into being, the printing press started, knowledge started shared to be shared with many people. And if you remember that actually because books were there, we were able to create universities. Because universities were there, we can educate people, and that created many revolutions. The French Revolution that happened in 17th century was only because people started reading books written in the Greeks time. Okay, so this is going to disrupt. And what was the value proposition of book? It created, I mean, it removed the knowledge gap. Similarly, blockchain is going to create what is called actually the trust gap. That means it is establishing or enabling people to talk to each directly. In technology, it's called peer-to-peer networking. So that means you can talk to me directly without involving an intermediary. For example, I can send you money now only through a bank, but you don't need if you are using a blockchain. Yes, it's going to go in this one. Okay. Ashwant is asking for metaverse, will we need to buy some separate devices? Yes, depending on the application. For example, suppose you are using certain application by Microsoft, then there is a separate VR headset called HoloLens that you have to use that. Okay, and certain gaming applications have this. But the current moment in the metaverse is to create all the metaverse experiences in the browser itself. For example, you can go to a website called babylona.js where they're trying to help you to deliver your all metaverse applications or the VR experiences directly to the browser. So to the extent not possible, it will be delivered, but there's also a tendency where actually the future mobile sets will come with VR enabled devices or VR enabled features. So Ashwin, if you are asking a question like, do you need a separate handset? I mean, headset currently yes, but future direction is that it will be delivered with on your mobile phone only. And there is one question by Raj. Sir, many companies are creating their own metaverses, right? Yes, yes. See, Facebook says that they are creating a meta which is their own, okay? But that is against the principle of metaverse, okay? And that is one of the challenges that metaverse has because internet was also open, but today what happens is Google, Metaverse, Facebook, and all they are controlling the world because they have a walled garden. That means a user of Facebook cannot get to Gmail directly; he has to log out and go. But the open standards of Metaverse is actually trying to overcome. Currently, every company is trying to create their own Metaverse, but in the long run, they are unlikely to succeed. Okay. Okay, then what is that? Okay, what metaverse will need to buy separate? No, okay, that have answered question. Okay, the above link. Okay, link is this is the link. Why is it not working? This is the link I have shared. Check why it's not working. I will figure it out. Okay. And the next question is okay. I have already answered the weakest question and okay. Okay. See, there's a question like and Anand who says how the touch pieces work. Okay. Now there is a new technology for that sensibility, gesture management, and gesture one. In probably in one of the sessions I will cover Anand. See, now input has become one of the important thing in the metaverse. Now there are many ways of inputting. Currently we are using our keyboards, okay, and our mouse, okay, and our speakers. But then there is no touch screen facilities there on some machines and not all. So now these input devices or the interface, what we call, is actually taking advantage of the technologies. For example, the very famous person Elon Musk as a company which is developing what is called brain computer interface. That means what he's trying to develop is something like you think something in your mind that will be conveyed to the metaverse or the internet. That he is trying. It is something like Stephen Hawking was using a device where actually if he just moves his cheek, that was to be understood and it will be translated. Yes, there are technologies we are taking. One of the example is BCI, that is called brain computer interface, which is also coming to this one and shortly it will come. Okay, and so have I missed any other question? Sir, are there many different schools are trying to build counters? How will this work in the long run? Okay, Kiran again, Karan. Okay, so yeah, everybody is trying to work, and the mandate and the intention of metaverse is to make as interoperable as possible. For example, people today know who play games know that during a game they will earn certain things, but those whatever the earnings they cannot be used outside that game. So that is one of the biggest problem, or biggest problem for either your cryptocurrency and other things, right? Now they are trying to work out certain ways in actually they are making interoperable. For example, you buy in Decentraland paying their currency called Mana, and then you move to another one, Ethereum. There actually you have to pay, and now that interoperability should be available. It's the way like say you have Indian rupees, and actually you can convert into American dollars and pay. So they are doing. Current that is a question that is being taken care. Yeah, Karan, actually you again asked a question like Metaverse is just another form of persistent online multiplayer game. I try to answer already question this, but again I told you, see, gaming is one of the most famous application of Metaverse, but doesn't mean that Metaverse starts it with game and ends with game. It is like again I told you it's like saying that mobile is only for making calls and receive calls and make calls. Now it is no more true, right? We are actually having many applications on the mobile. So if you think that it is only for a gaming platform, then probably your view is very limited. Okay, it has many applications already started being done. Okay. Yeah, VK, these can be a good platform for medical field. Yes, yes. Actually, no, earlier there was an example on how do you make touch work. Okay. See, yeah, there are gloves which are available, which you can use on the metaverse, and actually you can touch the patient and try to understand his body temperature or whatever that feature. That is already available and going. Okay, so suppose then actually then there is something called telemedicine. That means you don't expect the patient to come to hospital to see a doctor. He can be looking, he will be sitting in his own place. Okay, and in these cases you can use this gloves and actually figure out, or you can get the parameters like his temperature or his pulse rate and all. Okay, I will be covering this technologies in one of my later presentations. Raj is asking, sir, do you think there will be a single centralized metaverse? Well, that is the hope, and that is what the attempt we are doing, I mean, the industry is doing. And chances of that are actually very high because companies seems to be realizing that if they stop people I mean, going to another platform seamlessly, then their user base will go down. That's the reason this is likely to happen. Okay. So any question have I missed? If I have missed any question, kindly remind me. I mean, just bring it to my notice. I think I have answered all the questions. Okay. Okay. Oh, Raj, thank you for your compliments. But please, I mean, if there are any specific question, you can ask us because see, I have a long-term interest in metaverse because it's going to benefit my students. Okay, uh, and I will be conducting these sessions forever. In fact, for my students in my college, also I started some courses. I trying to extend this. And let me explain on another experience because in 2009, when I started when introducing cloud computing to my college, we had a tough time because people thought that cloud computing is another small elective which will come and disappear. Today, 10 years down the line, then there are cloud computing giants, and we cannot even imagine doing anything without cloud computing today. For example, I cannot conduct these sessions without cloud computing, right? But people were not able to accept that in 2009. Something similar is about metaverse. So one of my fundamental mission is that I want to create this awareness among people about metaverse and see the potential. And one of the story also to tell you, when I introduced cloud computing back in 2009, two of my students did a project on cloud computing then using what we call APIs and all. And 10 years down the line, both of them have a companies working for the companies they have created and both have become entrepreneurs. So my idea is actually starting this series is some of you actually get inspired by this and start using this. Maybe you become an entrepreneur in metaverse, and that's the whole objective at hand. Okay. So anybody can help me in case I have missed any questions on this session? Yes, yes, yes. So again, I will go through once again. If I have missed any question, I will try to answer. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, I have to take a note because somebody was asking about the touch technology, sense technology. I will certainly do that one on a course because there's already technologies available. For example, a doctor can use a gloves to do that, to touch a person, patient and all, and a player can use a gloves to catch a ball and all. Okay, and Akshay is asking one more question. What are your views on NFT? I told you Metaverse is a new world order. That means whenever you go to a new world, we have to replicate everything that is there in our current world. Okay. Now NFT is a kind of a thing which will create a unique value for your asset. Okay. So it all starts with what we call token. So token is kind of our currency today. That means I have a 10 rupees, it has a value. Okay. So NFT is a kind of a token which has a speciality and it has a rarity. One example that I can tell you right now, and also I'll be making presentation on my class on NFT. So, for example, suppose you are a fan of say either MS Dhoni or a Chetan Bhagat. Okay, so you can buy a bat or a book, a Chetan Bhagat book from any bookstore. That will cost you say 500 rupees. But suppose it so happens that you buy a book and Mr. Chetan Bhagat will actually make autograph sign on that one. So that becomes very valuable because for a simple reason that you don't have only bought the book, you also have a signature from the author himself. So that price of that book will be much higher than 500 rupees, right? Similarly, you buy a bat, you can buy it from anywhere. But suppose Mahendra Singh Dhoni actually signs on that, it becomes highly valuable. So NFT is something equivalent in the metaverse. So there is an artist, there is a lyricist, there is a singer. They can sign their signature or their products and sign, and that is NFT. But I will be covering that in my one of my sessions. Okay. The question is actually, do you invest in them? Currently, no, because either I don't have enough funds to do that, or I have not come to reach that level. Okay. So anyway, okay. Then another thing actually I will tell you is, see, my next episode will be this is blockchain in the metaverse. Okay, blockchain is one of the technologies bedrock. You can still have a metaverse without the blockchain, but that would be not that useful or not utilitarian. Okay, so in the next session, I will be talking about what metaverse has to do with, means rather what blockchain has to do with this one. And before that, actually, I will also show you the certain things. Okay, one second. Wait. So I have about two, 300, 50, 60 features which are aligned for that. So my future episodes will be like one will be talking about introduction to the metaverse in a broader sense, like what is the history and all. Okay, and we also talk about virtual reality, for example, episode 7, and metaverse is actually motivated by many things. The idea of metaverse came sometime in 90s through a novel, and many of these leading companies like Facebook, Zuckerberg, or even the founders of Google, they have been reading this novel for nearly 20, 30 years, and they are motivated. That I will cover. And I'll be in the episode 8, I will be covering benefits of augmented reality and all. So be ready and be attending that. See, for example, artificial intelligence has many roles to play. So I will be conducting the sessions for quite some time. Okay. So every Wednesday, 6 o'clock, kindly mark in your calendar and come back. That will be also encouraging to me, and also I'll be more than eager to help you. I mean, not help you, guide you through the this magical journey of metaverse. Okay. So any more questions, please ask and I will. Any more questions? Okay, Vivian, thanks. Oh, definitely. Okay. And I will be sharing many other resources to you. For example, uh, this is the latest link about my lessons. I mean, whatever that I write on this, I will share you. And over a period of time, actually, I will share certain group information and all. But you are always welcome to send an email, whatever that you want. For example, so you are free to send an email anytime. I will try to answer your question. In case you are not able to answer the question today, I'm always there. I have noted down there are two topics that you have raised. NFT, I will cover in a session, and like touch technologies that I will definitely cover in that. And hopefully, I have overcome this bias in some people that metaverse is all about gaming. Yes, gaming is an important feature, very famous feature today, but metaverse doesn't start there and end there. Actually, it is one of the earliest applications. The way file transfer was first applications of internet, but then within 10 years we have had Amazon there, Google there. Okay. Similarly, calling was making calls was one application of smartphone, but then within 10 years we have thousands of applications which are running on the mobile phones. Okay. 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 Thank you. Then I will just conclude my session. Thank you very much, one and all. Okay, so this is my uh, next session that will happen on 25th May. Kindly join here and I will try to answer whatever the question that you want me to answer. Okay. I have given already Anand is here. Metaverse at matters at 01 that G. Sorry, yes. Yeah, it's Gmail. Yes. So shall I take leave? Okay. Okay. Thanks, Ananya, and also Anand, Aditya. Okay. So yes, yeah, bye bye. Yeah. Yes. Yes, correct. You do research and also share your whatever the finding that you make because understanding metaverse is actually a community work. It is not one individual work like either me or you doing. It's a collective work. Mr. Karan, whatever that you figure out or whatever you search, kindly share with us on this platform or in through my email, whatever that is. Okay. And my cell number is this. Hmm, that's it.